Am I in the twilight zone? What's happening? Nkuku chickened out. Seeing Colwell and Chalobah together physically makes me repulsed. Seeing Nkuku as striker confused me. Even though we started the month of February with a win, like fallen angels have been cast out of the pearly gates of the top four. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in free fall. Welcome back to the channel.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night.
Hone your skills. Look, boy, you in the danger room. Yeah, you in the danger room. Come on now. It's like a dream. Everything moving fast, but you moving slow. Change the tempo, watch we on time. Hey, now you know. Listen to the rhythm we giving them, we bringing it with passion. Smashing. You should just move to my groove. Case in point.
What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I recently figured out that 43% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. And I also realized that there's this cool new feature on YouTube that when you say like this video or hit the like button, the like button glows and does some animated stuff. So that's fun. And that should make you like the video. So don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Share the video if you like. Let's get into it. So, like I said, we've been in free fall since December. We've been losing a lot of games. I think we've lost 7 games the whole season so far, and 4 of them came in January and February. Starting with the first game in February, which was against West Ham, and from the lineup, I had no issues, honestly. I was happy to see Sanchez was finally dropped. It took a million years for Maresca to get to it, but he finally did it. Reece and Tosin were in the starting lineup. I was happy to see that. I was expecting a win. And we started off sharp, we started off energetic, and even with some misplaced passes and loose touches from Colwell and Madueke, things were going well. Kudus was a threat from the first whistle. He is such a powerful runner. Sometimes when I see him, I catch glimpses of the way Hazard used to dribble people, the way he puts his body between the ball and the defender, and he hardly loses the ball. It's amazing to watch. But he was a threat the whole game, and even with that, we're dominant, especially in the first half. We dominated possession and we were not clinical as usual. But we kept trying to create chances, playing balls in behind. And Jackson helped to run the channels and chase down those passes. And he sprained his hamstring or tweaked his hamstring while doing that. I think the first incident was in the 16th minute. And honestly, we should have taken him off at 24th minute when it happened again. But brilliant passes from Rich James and Tosin. We've really missed those quality passes from Rich James since he's been injured. And we failed to find the target from a couple of blocked shots from Sancho, a couple wild attempts from Sancho and Palmer, some near misses from Enzo and Noni. West Ham, they defended brilliantly. We have to give it to them. And they started growing to the game. And Cole just decided to give them a chance and a score from, I think, their second shot on target. But at this point, I wasn't really bothered, to be honest, because obviously we went to go down, worrying times. But at the same time, the script of how we usually lose games was broken. Like it went off script. So I was a bit more relaxed because it wasn't the case of, we score first, we miss chances and blah, 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 blah. I was a bit relaxed and I was expecting us to get back into the game at some point, which we ended up doing, but not before Jackson picked up an injury and had to come off early in the first half alongside Sancho because Sancho was ineffective. Neto helped change the game with his energy when he came on, and he helped us find the equalizer after the ball forced, fortunately for him. After a few attempts on goal that was blocked and a lot of ricocheting in the box, and he was in the right place at the right time, and he put the ball in the back of the net. It was a difficult finish because he had to play it in between a bunch of defenders, so kudos to him. Finally did something. I'm very critical about Neto. I think it's been overwhelming, but this February, I think he actually started performing and started taking onus and started trying to make an impact and actually making an impact. And we're also fortunate again to find the winner. After keeping pressure on West Ham, we're aided by a big deflection from Wan-Bissaka. We kept the pressure up until Palmer came off, and then we became more susceptible to counter-attacks, which we ended up dealing with very well, in my opinion. But we maintained control till the end of the game. We defended pretty well, to be honest. Outside of that, Colwell head loss. I don't know what he was doing. West Ham never really created any clear chances outside a Kudus header that hit the post, but it was offside anyway. And I think there was a block that Tosin made in 94th minute, and from Kudus as well, I think. And honestly, Kudus, I keep saying it, Tosin is very underrated in our fan base. He is literally our best centre back at the moment, because Fofana arguably could be our best centre back, but he's injured. And honestly, don't even get me started on Cole and Chalobah. But that's for we'll talk about them more later in the video. Jackson was decent when he was on. He created a few chances with his ball carrying, but he never got a proper chance to take a shot. And Noni and Sancho couldn't affect the game. Palmer seemed to be off form as he struggles to find the target. Enzo and Caicedo, they did their jobs. Solid performance. Enzo has really been impressive this February. The entire backline was solid except for Colwell and a few of his mistakes. And the subs were decent. Nkunku wasn't impactful either, but it wasn't a hindrance, so that's a positive. And Guri ended the game injured. When he came on, he was actually a bright spark. I was happy to see him. Unfortunate that he got injured in this game because with Jackson injured, he would have definitely seen game time with us missing a striker. So we move on to the Brighton game. Now, the Brighton game, I don't know. I didn't like the lineup. I was a bit skeptical before the game, and I'll probably look for a clip from the Away End podcast.
I mean, I'm optimistic. I want to say Chelsea will win. There's
Remember,
definitely
we're
not going to
away.
be a clean sheet because
Brighton are home.
yeah, there's definitely not going to be a clean sheet because Big Rob is in the post. So if I had to guess, I would say a 2-1 or a 3-1, something like that. That's how I imagine it's going. But this is me putting on my optimistic Chelsea fan hat today because I don't want my weekends to be ruined. But yeah, we'll see.
I think it's going to be a very entertaining game. Like you said, high line galore.
Yeah,
I can see this being like a 3-2 Chelsea win, 4-2 Chelsea win,
yeah,
or go to penalty,
possibly.
or 3-3 go to penalties. But I think we'll win the game.
Yeah, I mean
But if I was
with
going
these
to,
people, you can.
if gone to my head, I had to pick one. I think I'll say 3-2 because I
Yeah,
struggle to see us scoring
but
more than 3 goals. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but your boy Matisse is on the bench, so good for him.
Go check that out. Like the video. We should be dropping 2 more episodes this month of March. I wasn't confident, but I still predicted a win because I don't like predicting Chelsea losses, but I knew it was going to be a difficult game. I was just praying that we would win, and I did not like the lineup. I felt like it should be strong enough to win the game, but I was never confident about the game, and I get nervous whenever a huge chunk of the Chelsea fan base think that we're going to win a game, and in my mind that's like a red flag because when we all agree on something it's the opposite usually happens. I don't know why that happens, but yeah, I was nervous, and it seemed like KDH came in for Enzo, and with Jackson injured, Nkunku started as striker. We all know that that's a car crash waiting to happen. Chalobah came in for Colwill, Neto for Madueke, and Gusto for James as expected because James is injury prone. We're looking after him and all. um he had a little scare in the West Ham game when he jumped for the ball and landed a bit awkwardly. So, and he also came off earlier than he usually comes off. He usually comes around like 70th to 80th minutes and came off around like 64th minutes. So I already knew we're not going to see him in this Brighton game. He was even possibly injured. The game started off okay. We were gifted the first goal of the game. Palmer forcing another own goal. I think it should have been given to Palmer because the shot was on target anyway. Yes, the goalkeeper spills into the net, but I think Palmer should get that goal. Well, either near here nor there. I was torn because I wasn't sure if from this point we're going on to win the game or the script was still playing on. You understand what I mean? And we didn't follow the script because the script at least says that we will miss chances that were created, right? But nope, there was no creation going on. Zero. We were outplayed by a mediocre Brighton side because honestly, they were not even their best when we played them. Like that, I've seen Brighton play better than that. I think when we beat them 4-2, they played better than that. After the goal, it was a pretty quiet game, and we weren't forcing anything because we didn't need to. We're 1-0 up, and at last, Brighton equalized from a cross that Cucurella failed to stop and Chalobah failed to deal with. It just felt like we were sleepwalking through the whole game. There was no pressure on the ball. We couldn't deal with Brighton's press. Nkunku was ineffective as we all expected. Everybody except Maresca, apparently. Palmer was honestly ghosting. Caicedo was just all alone in the midfield because KDH kept running into God knows where. I don't know. Neto was the only person trying to do anything, but he has mastered the art of looking busy while doing nothing. Because, gosh, yes, he has contributed here and there, West Ham, Arsenal, and he grew into his own this February. But this game was just more of the same from his performances since the beginning of the season. We missed just one opportunity to go 2-1 up with a good ball in behind from Caicedo, and Nkunku chickened out. He could have taken the shot with his left foot, but no, he lobs the ball to Palmer, and Palmer failed to get it on target. Everything else were just half chances because even when we broke away, the attack kept breaking down because Nkunku will slow it down, Neto will slow it down, or whatever reason. I just highlighted how important Jackson is to the system, regardless of his form. Jackson is so important to the system, or at least his profile. And I'll speak more on that, especially in the Southampton game that we won. And honestly, the refereeing is always terrible. I speak about this every video. Their winner was a double handball. Lamptey handles the ball and Mitoma handles the ball, but the referee was apparently blind, and this is what it is because we didn't deserve to win the game anyway. It's just more inconsistent for refereeing. We move on to Brighton, and oh man, I hated this lineup so much. Seeing Colwell and Chalobah together physically makes me repulsed. Seeing Nkunku as striker confused me. Like, hasn't Maresca been watching the same games? Like, hasn't he been at the touchline or on the touchline or like at every game that some people has played striker for us since the beginning of this season? Like, am I in the twilight zone? What is happening? Like, am I missing something? Like, bam. It's honestly just told me that Maresca had no idea what was making the system work. I don't understand how Jackson's out and you put Nkoko in the same position that Jackson was in and you expect similar results. Part of the reason we're creating so much chances or so many chances was because of what Jackson kept doing. Like I said, regardless of his form, he was a constant threat. Pressing, his ball carrying, his trickiness, even whenever he was having a bad game or his finishing was off, he was a catalyst in creating chances for us. You put someone that is not even the same, is not even close to the same profile as him in striker, and you keep expecting different results. So, and don't even get me started on the backline. The backline was filled to the brim with bombs. Chalobah, Colwell, Gusto. Gusto has been awful the whole season. Awful. Awful. What made me think that was a good idea? Like, I'd have rather seen Kukurea as right back and KDH at left back or something. Like something else. I don't know. Fam, you can't play all three of them. You need to take one out, take two out. I don't know. You can't play three of them. Like, it's horrible. But regardless of all of that, I actually thought we were going to win. Yes, I know. Delusional. Hopeful. Stupidly optimistic. Cool. But I thought we were going to win. Because surely we're so bad in the FA Cup and we play them again. Surely we can't be worse. But we were worse. Oh my god, we were so much worse. I don't know if anybody has noticed, but in previous games I always say, oh no, every time people say, oh, this is the worst game ever, like, nah, I always have a game in my mind. I'm like, no, this game wasn't worse than that. And that game is always Liverpool because Liverpool were trash. But fam, this is the worst game. And even it's even our largest defeat since the season has started. Like, this was the worst game. We had 0 shots on target. 0, 90 minutes. 90 minutes. 0. Odo shot on target. Like, oh man. Surely after being embarrassed just a few days ago, we're not going to do the same thing or worse. We're going to show some backbone. Well, I was sadly mistaken because they put in an even worse performance. Like, I never imagined that was possible. Like, I don't even think there's any point going over the game because you can just imagine the FA Cup match and multiply it by 10. Like, it was that bad. It was that bad. And to make matters worse, Nani goes off injured in 21st minute. Like, that is 2 of our 3 most important attacking players injured. And the whole game was just Palmer, hope and pray on a Palmer that is off form. And like, what is up with Nkunku? Like, it's baffling. It is so baffling. And the Nani injury only means that we're going to see more of Nkunku. Like, it's practically going to start every other game because Nani is injured. Because there's nobody else. Who are you going to play? Sancho is the same thing. Who are you going to play? Tyreek George. Maresca doesn't trust him. KDH. Oh, don't even get me started. I don't know what is wrong with Nkunku. Like, it seems like he's just checked out. Like, that he doesn't care about anything anymore. Win, lose, draw, he doesn't care. Like, if he's playing, like, we kidnapped him and we tortured him and we are forcing him out on the pitch and he doesn't want to be there. Like, that's how he's playing. And it's so confusing because the entire first half of the season, everything that we're hearing was, oh, Nkunku is unhappy, he wants game time, he wants this, he wants that, he wants to play, he wants more minutes, he's unhappy with Conference League minutes. Fine, I understand. Now Jackson is injured. What are you doing with the minutes? Because every game is like we're playing one man down when Nkunku starts. It's like in striker, let me be specific. When he starts in striker, it's like we're playing one man down. The sad thing about Nkunku is I actually think he's a good player. Like I've said it before in my earlier videos, I think Nkunku is a good player. I think he's a good finisher. I think he has good goal scoring instincts. And when he's confident, he can be a game winner. He can be a match winner. Because last season and a little bit earlier in the season, especially in that Bournemouth game, when he comes on off the bench, I can see it in his face and his body language that, oh, he's coming on and he wants to make an impact and he believes he's going to make an impact. But I don't know where that has gone. Like, he just seems so checked out. And it's not like you could say, oh, he hasn't really been playing, so he's rusty. Fam, he has been playing Conference League minutes. It's not like he hasn't played all season. That doesn't count for anything. But I think Maresca had an initial plan that could have actually worked. Having Noni and Neto on the wings as runners to help Nkunku out, as he and Palmer interchanged in the first 9 and 10 positions. And the Noni injury just blew everything up. He could have still salvaged it by bringing on By bringing on Tyreek George instead of Sancho, because at least Tyreek George is of a similar profile. Is more similar to Noni than Sancho. I feel like it could have still worked if he tried out George instead of bringing on Sancho, because once Noni left the pitch, he left the pitch with all the intensity that we had. Every single intensity that we had in the first 20 minutes, because I think we actually started out okay, but as soon as Nani left, oh man, we just died. We literally just died. And Palmer just faded in the game, man. He just kept fading and fading. And honestly, Sancho was just out there doing cardio. He was just doing cardio because he was so weak on the second goal that Brighton scored. So weak. The tackle that he put in, or he pretended to put in, and then when Minte took the shot, he just did one half-hearted block. He didn't throw his body in front of the ball. Like, fam, all these cute, fancy, touch, dressing ball that he always does. I don't know. Like, he needs to do more. Samson needs to do more. And don't even get me started on Jehovah's Son, because he became a witness to that with Toma goal. Like, there was no pressure on the guy giving him all the allowance to do what he wanted, like he's a bully at school, taking his allowance. The goal it pissed me off so much because yes, it's a beautiful touch. And after the touch, he does well to quickly change direction and take the ball away from Chalobah. And even with the finish, I think Jorgensen could have done a bit better to save it. But still, that initial touch, he barely puts any pressure on him. He barely puts any pressure on him. And if you put pressure on him, it makes him taking that initial touch so much harder. Honestly, I don't even mean to be so harsh on Charles, but it's just annoying because we needed centre backs and we recalled him. When we need experienced, proper, solid, top level centre backs, we recalled him and people were cheering. Like, we don't need Chalobah. Yes, they maltreated him in the window, but we do not need Chalobah. Chalobah is not the centre back that we need in this team. And if he leaves this summer, I will not miss him. Like, he's a squad player at best. Like, the best I've seen of Chalobah is when he's filling in that right centre back role where he's practically a right back, or even at right back. I've seen him play well at right back, but he's not good enough to be starting, especially not with a proper centre back next to him. There's every other time that he has played well. Thiago Silva was next to him, Rudiger was next to him, like somebody else better was next to him. And Colwill, man, oh god. He has all the energy when it comes to fights and arguments when the ball is not in play. But as soon as the ball is in play, he can be so weak on the ball sometimes. And when he did that rubbish against West Ham, he put out, I saw it, I think on Instagram or so, he put out an apology saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, I take responsibility, blah, 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 blah." And personally, I don't care about players publicly apologizing for mistakes that they make on the pitch. It is what it is. You are not perfect, whatever. But since you dropped that one for the West Ham game, like, brother, where is the apology for the Brighton game? Maybe he put out one, but I did not see it. So, fam, where is the consistency here? Because he was so weak. They barely touched him and he just fell over. He didn't even get back in time. Like, I don't know. And Caicedo he was just tired, man. He was just tired. But the only somewhat positive thing that came out of that game was Tyreek George's performance. He looked bright and he raised the tempo a bit. He did more in those 15 minutes than Neto and Sancho did combined. He was a threat. He beat Lamptey a few times. Decision making was still lacking, but it was a good performance anyway. And I would say ruling out that Enzo goal was criminal. Because that was just BS. Maybe if it stood, the momentum could have changed and there could have been a different outcome. But it is what it is. Now, moving on to the Aston Villa game. The lineup was scary, and I was worried about how it was going to look on the pitch. I didn't like seeing Chalobah and Colwill again. Same with Nkunku starting, and I was confused where Gusto was going to play. I was scared that he was going to be playing right wing or something. With the setup, it was calm. Neto was in the 9 instead of Nkunku. He was a creative solution to the striker problem, and he did a lot better than Nkunku has been doing in the striker position. And he was busy. He did what creates our goal and a few chances. Rhys James was in midfield. He did well. He gave us another physical presence in midfield. He did make a few mistakes, some loose touches, misplaced passes. He was beaten a few times, but it is what it is. It was a solid performance overall. Like, he had a good game overall. Caicedo and Cucurella were solid as always, and Cucurella put in a very important block in the first half from Watkins. And Chalobah was alright while he was on the pitch. Unfortunately, there was under injury. The injury list is getting longer and longer. But all the same, I was happy to see Tosin come on for him. Because like I said, I hate seeing Chalobah and Cole next to each other. And Tosin did well. He put in a few good blocks. His passes that he always provides for the team. I appreciate all the aerial duels that he wins. And that's the main thing that I love the most about Tosin. He's like 6'4", 6'5". He is so tall and he uses his height very well. He rarely loses out on aerial duels. He has 72% aerial duels won. He wins most of his aerial duels, which I appreciate a lot because in the Premier League there are a lot of big strong strikers, big strong midfielders, and even big strong centre backs that can be aerial threats. And he does well to protect us from that because rarely does he lose out in those aerial duels. So it was all rosy and good for like 20 minutes, and then Villa started going into the game. And Palmer's form since the City game, he didn't improve. He struggled to get a shot on target. That chance in the second half, it haunts me. I think it was Caicedo that put him through, and he slips, he goes wide, and he makes a mess of it. When he could have just from the beginning passed to Nkunku, and it's an easy tap in for Nkunku. Nkunku was better at left wing, I must say, but he still didn't do enough in the game. Enzo had to keep going over to the left side to cover for his lack of energy in defending. We're lucky to some extent that Watkins didn't come with his shooting boots because he was very wasteful. He wasted a lot of chances. And the changes that Unai Emery made in the second half allowed Villa to build on their momentum. This is another one of my criticisms of Maresca because he seems to not respond in situations like that when the opposition manager makes changes and those changes puts us on the back foot. He doesn't respond well most times. Or since the bad run started, he hasn't been responding well in those situations when the opposition manager makes tweaks and we go on the back foot. Rashford just kept cooking Gusto, cooking Gusto, cooking Gusto. Like Gusto was already like I think in the first half he was actually decent. He didn't make too many mistakes. But that second half, man, Rashford kept going at him and getting better of him. And he literally just gifts another one of our players, gifting the opposition the ball to put it back of the net. Literally breaks the ball down on a plate for Rashford to give the assist for the goal. Honestly, for the second goal, Jorgensen had actually been having a good game up until the mistake, and it was a horrendous mistake. We just can't seem to get away from these goalie errors, can we? Like, ultimately, the team let us down. The team let us down because I think Maresca made changes. He did well, even though yes, he didn't really respond well in the second half when Emery made his own changes. But I think we started well, and two mistakes from Jorgensen and Gusto, they ultimately lost us the game. And it's ironic that two January signings in Asensio and Rashford made the difference for Villa. Who would have thought that when you make signings in January, it can help the team? Like who would have thought? And our own underwhelming actions in January keeps haunting us so far with our striker Palava that we've been dealing with. Like I said, Maresca tried different things, tried something different to try and solve the issues that we've been having, and we did play well for the most part, but we remain in free fall with the loss against Aston Villa. And I saw the stat that we are one of the worst teams in terms of dropping points from winning situations, while Aston Villa are on the other end of that. They are one of the best teams at gaining points from losing positions. And I guess if you are into stats and you notice that, you could have seen this game playing out the way it did. It was a perfect storm for Aston Villa. Now we move on to the game against Southampton at home. We thank God we finally won a game to break the falling. And I expected us to win, but I couldn't be confident with our form so far. But we managed it, thank God. The lineup wasn't inspiring given the absence of Rich James because I think he always makes us better. And with Nkunku starting again, you understand my my issue with Nkunku so far this season. But with the injuries and the injury-prone players that we have, I guess that lineup was the best that we could do. And the game started off pretty slow and pedestrian with the backward passes and slow build-up play. It was getting even more worrying when Palmer missed the chances and while he's still struggling for form. Like he can't even get shots on target nowadays. Like I don't understand. I would have taken him off personally. I have no issue taking him off. But he got better as the game went on in terms of controlling tempo and dictating play, especially in the second half. But the finishing was still poor. Neto and Nkunku, they finally stepped up. Nkunku finally did something in a game. Finally did something in the game. He showed his goal scoring instinct, like I've been speaking about, going at the back post and getting that header. But I must say, the attempt at defending from small bone, that Southampton player was horrible. I watched it back, and he wasn't even looking at the ball. Like if he actually looked at the ball, he could have prevented Nkunku from getting there first. But he was focused on Nkunku and tussling with him, and Nkunku just impressively though was able to hold him off and get the header. And man, it was beautiful. I was so happy for him that he scored finally. Like at least maybe now he would show some desire, some care, some effort. Because after he scored that goal, you could see that his game started getting better. And he then set Neto up for a beautiful finish. And Sancho remained quiet for the first half, but he did put in some crosses that nobody got on the end of, and he did play some nice passes, especially to Palmer. And he should have or could have left with an assist or two. But our midfield was dominant, and the backline didn't really have much to worry about. Onuachu, their striker, the tall Nigerian brother, shout out. He was giving us a bit of problem, but Tosin kept him quiet mostly. Like I said, when we come up against big, strong centre backs, like I'm happy Tosin is there because he can at least put up a fight against them. Because Cole will always get bullied whenever it's someone bigger than him. Like in that Man City game, I would have loved to see Tosin play that game. But I think it was because he had played 2 games in a week prior, and maybe Maresca wanted to give him a rest, or another conspiracy that maybe it's the board or the board Bachaloba or Cole is the Cobham darling, and 2 of them need to be our starting centre backs. And that's why they played. I don't know. But I would have preferred to see Tosin against Man City. But either that's neither here nor there. We got to see some debuts from that youth academy striker. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm not going to try. The Matisse Amugu guy. And did we get one other? I don't remember. And Tyree George came on. He built on that his good showing against Brighton and providing a beautiful assist for Kukurea. And honestly, I even forgot that we scored from a set piece. Well, beautiful feather. Even though if I was to nitpick, Ramsdale could have done better. But that's that. Like I said, that's neither here nor there. It was a beautiful header. I'm happy that we got scored from a set piece because we've been terrible at set piece. At least our set piece coach that we signed from Brighton is doing some work and is using some profits. And yeah, the header was beautiful, but the celebration was a bit unnecessary to me because fam, you've been terrible. I don't know who you're doing this to. Like, fam, focus on football and play better. But yeah, Enzo was amazing and he left it all out there, just like in the last game against Aston Villa. Like his description of the boys gave everything because he has been putting everything out on the pitch, especially this February. Like he has really been working really hard and trying to push the team forward, trying to keep the team ticking. I was happy that we got a clean sheet. It was our fifth clean sheet of the season, our first since December, where we played Everton, and it's our first clean sheet in a win since Villa at home. Both of them were in December. And I'm just glad that we're able to treat a team at the bottom of the team like they are bottom. Unlike last season when we struggled against Sheffield and I think Burnley. All in all, honestly, this month has been terrible. I did not think it could have been much worse. I was talking when I made the video and I did the thumbnail and the title. My sister was saying that, oh, I should make the title the worst month in Chelsea history for clicks and stuff. But I was thinking that, man, I don't want to sensationalize it because, to be honest, last month wasn't the worst month ever. Because last season there was a month that we went and we scored only one goal. Like we've seen worse. I genuinely considered it because I didn't think like it could get any worse. But this February just proved me wrong. It got way worse. We lost 3 games. We're out of another cup. We lost Jackson. We lost Geary. We lost Noni. We lost Chalobah, all to injuries. And honestly, honestly, I do not think it could get this much worse. And saying all that, as I speak, we're currently fourth because Newcastle and City haven't played yet. So there's still a chance that we could drop to I think sixth or fifth. But currently, after all of that, a very horrendous month in January and an even worse month in February, we are still in the top four. Like we should be getting top four. We should be getting top four. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we should be getting top four because this top four race is always just a bunch of teams that are super supremely inconsistent all through. If we manage to put another run together, just like we did in the first half of the season, I think it was in October and November, that we put in a decent run and we went like 2 months unbeaten. Like if we put in a similar run like that, we definitely get top four because all the teams around us are going to be inconsistent as hell. This top four race, I still believe that we'll get top four. I still believe it. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be as easy as I expected it to be because I expected a drop off, but I didn't expect it to be this bad because this 2.5 months of bad form. And hopefully with this Southampton win, we're playing Leicester next, even though I'm not as confident against Leicester as I was against Southampton. But playing Leicester next, hopefully we win that, get more confidence, and we push on and get a run of games. Because I believe we can beat Arsenal. Even though it's at the Emirates, it's going to be tough. But I think we can beat them because I feel like at this point, with the way Liverpool looks like they are probably going to win the league, Arsenal are a bit dejected. They don't really have much to fight for because they are pretty far ahead of everybody else in the top four race. So they can sleepwalk for the rest of the season and still get top four. So they might not be as motivated because they're not fighting for the league anymore. And I think we could win. Even though, yes, they might be fighting for pride, but they still don't have a striker. So I think we can beat Arsenal. And who are we playing next? I think Tottenham. We always beat Tottenham. I think we can win. And it's also at home because we seem to be playing better at home than away in this period. And Brentford, we broke the Brentford course, so we could win, maybe get a draw. So yeah, like there's a chance that we put in a good run, and if we can, I think we solidify top four. And I watch all these shows, ESPN FC, Sky Sports, and all that. People still don't think we can make top four, but people are talking about Villa and Newcastle can make top four. Like, fam, we are all just as bad as each other. Why are you putting us below them? It doesn't make any sense to me. I'll be moving on to the grading for February. Gosh, what did I give last season? Sorry, last month. What was it? I think I gave us a D. Yeah, I think I gave us a D. And this month, I'll give us an F. Straight F. Failure. Because the injuries are not our fault, but it brings down the mood a lot, significantly. And the win against West Ham was fortunate. We didn't play well. It was fortunate. We played even worse against Brighton, got knocked out of the cup. We played even worse against Brighton again and lost our biggest defeat of the season, 3-0. Did not get a shot on target, did not create anything. And then we played better against Aston Villa, but stupid mistakes. We lost against Southampton. They're the worst team in the league, so they don't really get points for beating them. Even though I'm happy for 3 points, I will always take that. No complaints here. But as I'm grading it, I don't give them points for that. So yeah, I'll give us an F, straight F. Maybe if I wanted to be nice, E minus or E. 4 goals is still a good thing. Google scored and assisted. Neto scored and assisted. Team stepped up. Prayer got a goal. Cole got a goal. And we won the game, even though Palmer was, let's be honest, he was rubbish the whole game. For most of the game. So, yeah, okay, I'll be nice. No, F. No, you're not convincing me. I'm not getting convinced. It's an F. So, moving on to the copycats February starting 11. Neto being our best player to replace Jackson and Geary in the striker position. Nkunku has done better than Sancho, so he gets in. I think Richard George has done better than Sancho as well, so he gets in. Obviously, Palmer is a mainstay even with his bad run of form. Enzo and Caicedo, definite starters. Tosin and Colwill, I prefer that pairing than Tosin and Chalobah. But Tosin is definitely there. I do not want to see Gusso's face. So because James is there. Obviously Kukurea and Jorgensen. Jorgensen so is like he hasn't been good. Let's be honest. He has not been good. But he has been better than Sanchez in terms that he doesn't make mistakes every game. And I would take that. I would take that because those are the only two options. And I'd rather a mediocre goalkeeper that doesn't make mistakes every game than Sanchez. That's just it. That's it for the February review. Thank you for watching. I appreciate anybody that's gotten to the end of the video. And I will see you in the next one. Love, respect, and remember, if you are watching this video, subscribe. Good night.